They watched as the missing part of the stone plate began to rebuild itself. But not out of stone. It rebuilt itself out of light. The same happened with the walls of the building they stood in. As they looked around, they saw the walls beginning to rebuild themselves from the ground up. But where the material had been stone and wood, now it was light. Emitting a golden glow, the light took on the shape of each stone, each piece of wood, every finely crafted detail of the structure. Joshua and Gray watched as the whole city began to rebuild itself. Doors, windowsills, roof structures, even chimneys and passageways, all carved out of thin air and compressed light. Some buildings were flat and rectangular, but most of them had strange shapes of half-round or circular patterns. It was unlike anything Joshua had ever witnessed. There were round platforms on top of some of the roofs, the purpose of which completely eluded him. Joshua. Gray's thought reached him. It was barely more than a whisper, as if the wolf did not wish to disturb what was happening. Joshua turned around facing the crater. The walls now had a slight glow to them, and as they walked toward the edge, Joshua could see far down into it. The light became brighter and brighter. Joshua and Gray, dwarfed before the large crater and only a silhouette before its immense light, stepped back to escape the blinding beam that reached far and high into the gray dawn sky. Still unable to comprehend anything they saw, they looked at each other, awed by the sheer beauty and power of what was happening. That's when they saw them. At first, all that was visible were spheres of clear glass gently rising from deep within the crater. Then Joshua could make out small strings attached to either side of them. Not far below, the strings ended in what looked like a narrow platform. On each of the platforms sat a figure. The figures looked human, but were dressed in dark bodysuits and masks. Some of the shapes were bigger, others smaller, like children. One of the smaller figures came fairly close to Joshua and the wolf. It lifted its hand briefly to greet them in passing. "Can you hear me?" Joshua thought to the figure, but there was no answer. He felt the figure's gaze on him until it disappeared behind another sphere that passed them. Joshua counted at least 36 spheres, but as he looked down into the crater, he saw that it must have been more than 200 spheres that ascended within the light beam into the sky. Then they were gone.